Okay, jumping back in. Try 3, I keep hitting the wrong button. So anyway, the third version of this lesson, let's get all the way to the end. The Krebs cycle, components of the Krebs cycle. You will look at what the Krebs cycle does for the cell, what it uses and produces. The energy challenge game uses icons to represent the molecules and processes involved. Shown below are some of the molecules and processes used in the Krebs cycle. What elements are present in FAD, FADH2, but not in carbon dioxide? All right, which elements? I see an N. I see a P. And do you see an S? I see no S. And then, of course, carbon dioxide does not have hydrogen either, but the other ones do. Correct? Cool. Moving on, reading some graphs. So let's look at the third step in the process, that's the electron transport. The graph to the right represents aerobic electron transport in a eukaryotic cell. Read the graph, then mark whether each chemical listed is increasing, decreasing, or constant over time or not present. So here I see carbon dioxide, not present. Hydrogen, not present. Glucose, we're long done with glucose. We've already broken it down. We got ATP increasing. We have water increasing. We have oxygen decreasing. Okay, so from here, I want to make some notes. All right, so here we go. Whoa. Can you see my notes now? I have, wow, this is really hard to see. I need a document camera. That would be really sweet. Okay, perfect. So now you can see here, step 3, electron transport. Oxygen, 2 oxygen there, go to a carbon dioxide and a water. And that's what we made. Okay, let's continue on in our program. All right, so aerobic electron transport, moving our electrons around. You're about to play the aerobic electron transport chain round of the energy challenge game. It's time to see just how much energy can come from a single molecule of glucose. Which process do you think produces the most ATP molecules in aerobic cellular respiration? It is the electron transport. Okay. So until now, the ATP target you've had to reach has been very small, just 6 to 8 molecules. In the next round, your target will be much larger, 60 ATP. Electron transport chain is represented by 4 round rectangles across a line. And this is because these are proteins that are embedded in a membrane. You will need to generate 60 molecules to move on. You think we can do it? Let's go. All right, so we're just getting some repetition. We got 1 glucose going in. We got an ADP going in. We have to put energy in. Yep. We have to supply our electron carriers, and we need a free phosphate. Okay, and then we go through the Krebs cycle. From the Krebs cycle, we take another ADP. We take an FAD, an electron carrier. We take a phosphate. We take another electron carrier. And we take some pyruvate. Electrons get shuffled around as we break down pyruvate. Now, all those electrons that just boarded the bus are going to go over to the fun part, the little slide. It's going to slide down. It's going to make some mega ATP. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, now we need to put in, we need N10. Uh-oh, how do we do this? We have to run Krebs cycle one more time. FAD. ADP. N plus. Phosphate. Electrons shuffled. Carbon dioxide produced. That's because we've broken down glucose all the way, and then we produce some carbon dioxide at the end. Okay, because the carbons are not going, they're not disappearing. So if we started with 6 carbons, we have to end with 6 carbons. Now we have 10 electron carriers that can go in. We have 2 of these type of electron carriers. We have 6 molecules of oxygen, that's what's needed. We have ADP, and then we need all those spare phosphates. We produced a lot of water. We produced 26 ATP. All right, and then I think if we press next, they're going to tell us no, because our goal here was 660. So we have to run this all again, right? Let's take another glucose. More ADP. More phosphate. Put in a little bit of energy to get the reaction started. Start it up with some electron carriers. All right, and then we take ADP again. We take a different electron carrier. We take our pyruvate. We take our electron carrier. We take our phosphate. And we run the Krebs cycle. Step 2. Breaking down pyruvate. Forming our waste products. All right, and again, we still have 1 pyruvate, so let's run the Krebs cycle one more time right away. For every 1 glucose, we get 2 pyruvate. That means we can run this cycle twice. You know, as complicated as this is a super great way to learn this. If I had this when I was in college learning this cycle, I would know it. I would have learned it very well. All right, we're about to have enough to run electron transport one more time, doubling our ATP. Let's add in our electron carriers. The bus is dropping off electrons. They're being pulled to oxygen in order to make water. So when a hydrogen hits an oxygen, it makes H2O. We have ADP, and then we're going to regenerate ADP with a spare phosphate to make ATP. And those are our money molecules. 6 water. 26 more ATP. We did it! Holy cow. Yep, that's a lot. It's a lot. Maybe they'll make us count it up. Let's see. All right, we needed electron transport. Remember, if FADH2 and NADH are inputs, then FAD and NAD plus must be outputs. That's because these molecules, it's like if you have a bus and the bus comes in and it's full, then it's going to leave and it's empty. And these are the full and those are the empty. Okay, take your time. The screen is scored based on the accuracy of your answers and the number of attempts. Okay, so ATP. This is strictly for electron transport. Did we put any ATP in? No, but we got a lot out. Did we put CO2 in? No, but we got, for just aerobic respiration, let's look back. We did produce CO2. FAD came out, FADH2 went in, full bus came in, empty bus came out. H2O came out, NAD plus, that's the empty bus, came out. NADH, that's the full bus, came in, full of electrons. O2 was used in order to make H2O. And we already marked that there. Oh, okay, I was wondering, I was like, wait, okay. CO2, yeah, not involved here in this process. Oh, that means, oh my God. All right, what's the point? What is the role of aerobic electron transport in gathering energy? Is it to convert fructose into glucose? Nope, we haven't even been talking about fructose. Is it to use stored electrons to produce ATP? That sounds pretty money. Is it to produce energy from water, carbon dioxide, and light? Nope. Remember, because we produce carbon dioxide. Is it to produce water, which is broken down into hydrogen and oxygen for energy? No. And it's not to remove toxic electrons. Okay, And then this is really cool. This is cytochrome C, a protein of the electron transport chain. And this is what it actually looks like. Imagine that's, this is the whole protein. That's I think that's probably a magnesium ion. And it's held within, what are the building blocks of a protein? All these are amino acids linked together in different swirlies called beta chains and alpha helices, which is kind of fun. This is what is carrying and transporting electrons. All right, the Krebs cycle takes the products of glycolysis from the cytoplasm. From there, it produces electron carrier molecules in the mitochondria. It also produces molecules in small pockets within the membrane in prokaryotes. Now that you've seen the whole cellular respiration process in its entirety, what is the role of Krebs in gathering energy? And so that's step 2 at the mitochondria. We are looking to produce some electron carrier molecules used in later reactions. I think this is really cool. This is a picture of the mitochondria. Here you can see all those membranes. That's where the electron transport happens. All right, now we'll look at what electron transport does for the cell. Which of these components is a single molecule? So the electron transport is a group of molecules. The single molecule is water. When electrons pass through the electron transport chain, they fuel hydrogen pumps. This pushes hydrogen ions from one side of the membrane to the other. These hydrogens can only return to the other side through a unique protein, ATP synthase, which uses the flow of protons to combine ADP and a phosphate into ATP very efficiently. So this big globby thing, this is actually, it's kind of like a motor. As the hydrogen comes in, it moves from a high concentration to a low concentration naturally. That's the natural tendency of things. Like imagine if you had a lot of water on one side of a dam and it was overflowing, it would try to move from one side to the other side that doesn't have a lot of water. That's why water moves downhill. Same thing with this. Lots of hydrogen ions moving downhill, high potential, down to low potential. All right, what do you think then the purpose of the electron transport chain is? It is to move hydrogen ions across the membrane. All right, how well? I think I get this. I think I get that. Especially now that I have my notes. So I guess the last bit of notes we do want to take is about ATP synthase. So I'm going to draw. I'll take a minute and I'll show you what I'm drawing. Let's see, I wonder if you can see it like this. I don't know. Pause. Okay, here's what I came up with. Step 4, ATP synthase. Here we have our cell membrane made up of phospholipids. We have our proteins that are nestled in there, our electron carriers. Dump off the electrons. They help fuel the movement of hydrogen. Oh, you can't see it, but it's like really bright yellow. Hydrogen ions move up into the other side, and then they come back down with this big globby molecule of ATP synthase. That's an enzyme. Taking ADP, pushing a phosphate back on there to make a ton of ATP. Woohoo! And that's the whole process, starting with a glucose and a couple oxygens, making some waste products of carbon dioxide, ultimately making ATP and a byproduct of water. All right. Okay, so that's cool. We're gonna pause here. Helps us reflect, identify difficulties. So yeah, if you're having trouble now, feel free to send me a message and let's get on a Zoom and do this together. Don't be afraid to speak up. Questions save GPAs. It's not just about the grade, but maybe more about learning. But that's cool too. And taking great notes, which is an awesome skill. And knowing how these chemical reactions happen within our bodies. That's really awesome. So I'm going to make another video that's going to start with anaerobic respiration. Here we go.